You know, before I get into the meat of this video, there's a few things that I need to say up front that will, of course, serve as the intro to this masterpiece. And of course, you have seen the title. And seeing that this is indeed Black History Month, I thought I would take the time to address this talking point that I'm sure y'all all have heard on certain channels and certain chats, certain platforms, by certain individuals. And that is this black man not building anything. Black man haven't built nothing. So I'm gonna take the time, since this is Black History Month, to dive into some history, and I'm gonna tell y'all what happened that will give you a foundation as to why we are where we are today. Now, before I get into all of that, I have to tell y'all what's coming down the pipe. Yesterday was y'all's Valentine's Day. And I'm sitting back and I'm waiting for all the videos. I'm waiting for all the videos of these sisters that gonna make videos, since they all have hashtag divested. Since they all have leveled up. And this indeed is Valentine's Day. So I'm sitting back, I'm ready to be green with envy. All the videos from all these black women showing us the box of chocolates and the diamond rings and the flowers. I just wanted to see this shit, man. I ain't seen one goddamn video. So I decided I'm going to address this in the whole, and there's two particular black women that I'm going to address in the first video in the whole, and that is, I'm going to address this Cerebral, I think I'm pronouncing her name right. Y'all seen her. She's one of these quote-unquote leveled up sisters. And the other woman that I'm going to address in the whole on this special Valentine's Day rabbit hole edition is the Crystal Swirls. Now, in that video, you gonna want to tighten it up, man. I'm telling you, don't come to that video, getting your own. You keep your head on a swivel in that video, because I'm telling you, it's harsh. But y'all know what it is, second nature like breathing. If y'all want that video, send me an email, send you a link. And the second video that I'm going to do is pretty much likened to the first, and I'm going to answer the question as to why Snoop Dogg apologized to Gayle King. And I'm looking at all the videos online after he offered this apology, and in my estimation, they missed the mark. They missed the mark as to why he had to apologize. There's the apology. If you and I'm dare not go slip up and go there here in this public video, because they had just flagged this one. But his apology was implicit in his original post. And what I mean by that is, if you watched his original post, that will tell you why he had to apologize. That's all I'm going to say. Because I'm tipped and I know I was keep talking about, I'm gonna slip up and say something that can easily be flagged in this video. So let me leave it alone. If you want to hear why he had to apologize, you know what it is, second nature like breathing. Send me an email, I'll send you a link. That's gonna be the second video that I'm gonna produce. And I was toying with doing a trilogy, but I'm gonna tell y'all what. In the third video that I was toying with doing, but I need to simmer this idea just a little bit more. And that third video that I'm gonna put off to next week, I'm gonna deal with this next week. And that video is gonna be on Umar Johnson's conspiracy as to why, the death of Kobe Bryant. I mean, let me leave that on, because I know this video here is going to be controversial enough without me saying, listen, we're going to deal with that next week. But right now, if you want the swirls in the cerebral rabbit hole, and also why Snoop Dogg had to apologize, which is going to be this weekend's production, you know what it is, second nature like breathing, send me an email, I'll send you the link. And then next week, I'm going to deal with that Umar Johnson conspiracy, which, again, I'm going to get off of that. But let me say this, and this is something that has to be said, because this is what I've been seeing, and this also ties into that Kobe piece. I'm seeing this term from the Hoteps, the pro-blacks, the black first, back to Africans. And they're talking about celebrity worship. And I guess what they're saying is that, all of these black men and some black women who were, on Gayle because of, what she asked Lisa Leslie, they're basically engaging in celebrity worship of Kobe Bryant or other celebrities. And I have to come back and I have to ask the question, because y'all know where I'm at on this. Rhetorical question. Who in the black community is worshiped more as a celebrity than that black pastor? Who? Tell me. I want to know who it is. I mean, if we're going to go down the road and talk about celebrity worship, who in the black community is worshiped more as a celebrity, engages in more celebrity worship than the Negroes and particularly black women do with their black pastor? I mean, once you understand this whole dynamic, you understand why the Hoteps cannot address that black preacher. And I'm going to keep hitting them with this. I'm going to keep pounding them with this, because this is the crux of the hypocrisy. This is the crux of the hypocrisy. If you're going to tell me that you have a problem with what black men say about black women, and you're going to tell me that videos that black men make to black women or about black women is disrespectful to black women, then I can logically conclude you have a problem with people disrespecting black women. That's fair. So if you got a problem and you so up in your panties in such a bunch over what's said about black women, then why don't you have that same fire for what's done to black women at the behest of this black preacher, who's, by the way, worshipped as a celebrity? And the dichotomy in all of that is that the black woman herself is the one that deifies him. And that's why the pro-black, black first, back to Africa, red, black, and green, cannot address that black preacher. That is the reason why you will not see live streams dealing with those black preachers. I mean, you Negroes actually went out and petitioned to have Martin Luther King a national holiday. Not only did y'all do that, and y'all didn't pay for that monument, I dealt with that in the other video, but y'all wanted a monument placed on that mall in D.C. in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King. And if you ever been to Atlanta, you looked at his grave where because they moved his grave from where it was to where it is now. Now they may have moved it again, I'm not sure, but his grave sits in a tomb amidst, it's not really a lake, but it's like a man-made, I guess you call it a little, it's surrounded by water, and it's in the center. And it's enclosed in concrete. And the reason why they moved his grave from the original location is because they didn't want people desecrating his grave. So they set it where it's sat now, Dr. Martin Luther King entombed, because y'all worship this man. And I'm going to leave the link in the description box of the Bishop Eddie Long when they crowned that Negro a king. I believe that after you watch this video, go look at that video. You want to talk about celebrity worship? Go look at that video. And keep in mind while you're watching that video, this is a sexual pedophile. This is a sexual deviant who was no longer, and listen, don't worry, we're going to get to that in a minute. I got to get this off my chest first. Listen, if you're familiar with Lithonia, Georgia, Lithonia, Georgia is not the hood by any stretch of the imagination. It's an upper middle class Negro community. Lithonia, Georgia, which is where New Birth Eddie Long's church sits, in Lithonia, Georgia. So you mean to try to tell me with all of these college-educated, highfalutin, sophisticated black females in that church, none of them could turn you on? You had to deal with their sons? This is how much of a sexual deviant you are? And when he settled those cases out of court, what did those women in that congregation do for Eddie Long? Did they vote him out? Did they tell him you got to go? No, they crowned the guy a king. Go look at the video. So how the hell does a hotep fix their mouth to talk about celebrity worship? Are you serious? Are you serious? And I told y'all, listen, man, I have women to this day who will not speak to me. I have done nothing to them. I ain't touched them, put my hands on them, ain't robbed from them. They haven't done anything to them other than I have a harsh analysis of their pastor. And they won't even speak to me. Some of these are family members. So you can't come and sell that celebrity worship to me. No, not today, not no day. Nobody in the black community is worshiped more as a celebrity than this black preacher. But the hotep cannot say that. Why? Because that preacher is worshiped as a celebrity by his woman. So to confront him is to confront her, and we already know. We already know, man. Don't worry. We know. We got it. We got the memo. We already know you ain't going to confront her. You not going to bust a grape when it comes down to her. And listen, not only are you not going to bust a grape when it comes down to her, but anybody that she likes, you ain't going to bust a grape with them either. You ain't going to bust a grape with them either. Because y'all know that when it comes down to that black preacher, that black pastor, shut your mouth. You better not say nothing about my pastor. You're going to shut up. You're going to kowtow. You're going to buck dance. You're going to go argue with these Negroes on YouTube, but you ain't going to say nothing about that preacher. You're going to argue with these Negroes on YouTube about how they treat and talk about black women, but you won't talk about how that pastor treats black women. Which is worse? Which is worse? Which is worse, the guy who says, I'm going to kill you, or the guy who actually goes out and tries to kill you? Which is worse? Now let me get to the, I didn't messed up. I ain't on time with my memes. Let me get into subject of the video. I had to get that off my chest, y'all. I'm sorry. But now, we've heard these women on social media, and they're always talking about how the black man has never built anything. He ain't built nothing. He ain't built nothing. So I thought, you know what, let me analyze what happened as to why this is a fact. And to understand that, you have to understand the two major competing ideologies to move the race forward, which is one, W.E.B. DuBois's Talented 10th, and Booker T. Washington's industrial education, or the concept of teaching black people a skill. And what Booker T. Washington believed, and listen, had we had followed Booker T. Washington's model and that Tuskegee Institute that he built, by the way, that is today now Tuskegee University, but by the way, the black man ain't built nothing. But that's a subject for another video. But had we have followed his model, because what Booker T. Washington believed is that if you teach black people a skill, give them a trade, let them work with their hands, they not only will have work, but with their skill, they can build the black community. So Booker T. Washington sought out to create the Tuskegee. Look at that Tuskegee Institute. So DuBois comes along and he says, wait a minute, don't train all black people and give them a skill. Give me 10%. Let me educate 10% of black people with the arts and sciences, and at 10% then can go back to the black community and lead the 90%. It was the Talented 10th model. Two competing ideologies to move the race forward. DuBois's Talented 10th, Booker T. Washington's industrialized education. What happened? Why is it that these two models could not gain traction in y'all's community? I'm going to tell you the failure was. And listen, I'm going to warn y'all before we even get to this. Y'all not going to like this. Y'all not going to like it. But see, this is history. This is history. And I already know, I already know y'all are not going to like what I'm about to tell y'all, but God damn it, it's history. Because what took place is that you did indeed have a segment of Negroes who went off to colleges and universities, got their degrees, got their jobs, got their positions. But the failure in that model was some of them didn't come back. Some of them didn't come back. Once those black people were able to rub two nickels together, they dipped. They got the hell out of Dodge. They followed right behind white folks. You had what sociologists called white flight, which is a mass exodus of white people from these urban pockets to the suburbs. Sociologists called that white flight. And that white flight was followed by what sociologists call black flight. And that black flight was college-educated Negroes who got their degree, got their positions. As soon as they could rub some nickels together, they got the hell out of Dodge. And sociologists called that black flight. So the Talented 10th, the failure in that was some of those didn't come back. They just said, look, we're not coming back. We're gone. We're out. Forget it. Now, the few that came back from that Talented 10th, why is it that they were not able to lead? Because of the dysfunction of the black community and how dysfunctional the black community was and is, the Negroes labeled somebody trying to be articulate, speaking proper diction, wanting to turn homework in on time, wanting to pay attention in class, wanting to get good grades. Black people called that acting white. Yeah, they call you acting white if you turn in homework on time, you trying to get good grades, you trying to pay attention in class, you're acting white. And not only did black people say this was acting white, but black women called those brothers what? Educated lames. He's an educated lame. He a lame. Wears a belt, speaks proper diction, articulate, educated, clean cut, but he's an educated lame. You had a portion of the talented 10th who did not come back as DuBois said they should. The 10% leads to 90%. Some of those Negroes didn't come back. They left. But the ones who did come back and try to lead, the black community labeled them as lame, particularly black women, as educated lames, Uncle Toms, acting white. Yeah. What happened to the brother who had a skill? The industrialized brother from the industrial education, teaching him a skill. What happened to him? Oh, he got his position too. He worked with his hands. He got dirty because he was hands-on. The black woman said, he ain't good enough for me. He's a blue-collar worker. I don't want him. I don't want the educated lame. I don't want the brother who works with his hands because he's blue-collar. Even though he's making good money, even though he has a legal profession, even though he has a skill, that ain't good enough for her. She didn't want him. She turned her back on that brother. Yes. See, this is what y'all don't want to accept. Y'all want to make out like this shit just sprung up like dandelions. And I keep trying to tell y'all, no, it has an origin. It has an origin, folks. I know y'all don't like it. I know y'all are not going to accept this, but this is historical fact. This is history. This is history. So whenever you hear this sister talking about, well, the black man didn't build anything, listen, that Tuskegee Institute still stands to this day. This ain't no Dr. Umar Johnson school. No, this ain't no mythical trap house like Umar Johnson has. We're going to deal with him next week. That Tuskegee Institute that today is Tuskegee University, that Booker T. Washington founded and created, an ex-slave who understood the psychology of white people. And Booker T. Washington understood that white folks weren't going to hire you as no intellect, so it's best that if you teach you a trade, let you work with your hands, you can always be able to work, and with that skill, you could build the black community. That was his philosophy. And those brothers who have skills, who have legalized trade or certified, see, he wasn't good enough for this black woman. See, because he probably didn't go to a 4-year university. He probably went to a trade school. He maybe went to a community college. But yet and still, he has a trade. He has a skill. And he makes good money. He's making money legally. But he ain't good enough for her. He's blue collar. I don't want him. I don't want him. And I don't want the educated brother, because the educated brother is a lame. He think he white because he speaks proper. He wears a belt. And because he wears a belt and speaks proper diction, he's an educated lame. I don't want him either. So who did she accept? And I know y'all not going to like this, y'all. Y'all just not going to like it. Y'all just not going to like this, but this is historical fact. Because she rejected both of those types of brothers, she was left to procreate with who? The street hustler, the thug, the dope dealer, the pastor, which actually is all one and the same, that's who she procreated with. That's who she created offspring with. And I know y'all not gonna like this, man, but this is historical fact. You can't get around this, cannot be debunked. She procreated with this street hustler, this gun-toting, weed-smoking, ignorant Negro who uses jailhouse logic. Hey, that's her baby daddy. And why? Because the two competing philosophies to create men who wanted to build and move the black community forward, she rejected them. The talented 10th is an educated lane. The industrialized brother with a skill, blue collar, I don't want him, he ain't good enough for me. So now she deals with the thug. Now here's what you have to watch. You got to watch this. Because I've been telling y'all this. If you follow me down this rabbit hole, I've covered this time after time after time. What has happened now? So because the educated lane don't want her. He said, fuck it. Hey, I don't want you now. I mean, hell, you didn't already got used and abused by that street hustler. I don't want you now. The skilled brother said, I'm tight, I'm cool. I'll look, but I'm cool too. But see, she's sick of this hustler. She's tired of him. And she's outgrown him. Now, wait a minute. Let's put a pin there, because I know that, the sister gonna listen to that and she gonna think she's highfalutin and yeah, we leveled up because we bet. No, sister. It ain't hard to outgrow this Negro. When I say this Negro, I'm talking about that street hustler. It's not hard to outgrow him. Why? Because his brain is the size of a dehydrated BB. He chronologically, he may be an adult male, but mentally, he's an infant. Yeah. So when you outgrow him, that ain't saying much. There's not that much growth required to outgrow this Negro. But yet and still, she has outgrown this street hustler. She's sick of him. And when you hear these women on YouTube talking about leveling up, that's who they're talking about. They hate this dude. They're sick of him. And they're using his dysfunction. What did I tell y'all? I told y'all this in many videos. I told y'all they're going to use your dysfunction against you. That's what they're going to do. I gave y'all the formation. I gave y'all the snap count. And y'all still have not figured it out. As soon, you know what? It goes back to the analogy I gave y'all when I played football. Now, I'll never forget this. And it was during a game. I'm on the sideline. And the coach comes over and he's talking to the defense. And he tells us, hey, listen, they're about to run this play. They're going to do this. And he outlined what they're about to do. So we get back out on the field. And they do exactly what he said they were going to do, but I'm out of position. I ain't pay attention. So he snatches me out the game. So I'm sitting there and I'm wondering, well, God damn, man, why can't I get back in the game? And eventually he made his way over to me and he told me, listen, you're probably wondering why you're not playing. I'm like, you goddamn right I'm wondering why I'm not playing. What's up? And he said, listen, the last time you guys were over here, I told you this is what they're about to run. This is what they're about to do. And they did exactly what I told you they were about to do, and you were out of position. You didn't pay attention. So now you just sit. I sat that whole second half, pissed off. All the women in the stand, it's a home game. God damn it, man, you got me on the sideline with all these hoes in the stand, man, what's up? I sat that whole second half pissed off. Why? Because I didn't pay attention to what he told me. And that's where you brothers are, because I told y'all they're going to use your dysfunction against you. And y'all keep giving them ammunition. Y'all keep just pouring over ammunition to them, and they just using it as a justification. That's why I don't want to deal with him. That's why I want to level up, because she's sick of this street hustler. She's tired of this Negro. She's outgrown him. Caveat, put a pin there. It's not much to outgrow him. So that's not really, don't pat yourself on the back. It's not much to outgrow this Negro. But this is what she's done. She has used his dysfunction against him, and now she's using that very same dysfunction that at one time she accepted to do what? Swirl with a white man. I've been telling y'all this. This is the whole myth of this hashtag leveling up, hashtag divesting. This is the myth in that. And the mythology is that the two brothers who were created by the two competing ideologies, DuBois's Talented Tenth, Booker T. Washington's industrialized education, those two type brothers, she rejected both of them. She didn't want to have nothing to do with neither one of them. And you still hear black women today referring to educated brothers as educated lames. Why is he a lame? Why is he a lame? What makes him a lame? And why can't you just say, well, he's a lame? But why you call him an educated lame? See, that's a knock on him wanting to learn. What, you would prefer him to be ignorant? So you would get more aroused if he was a buffoon? And these are all rhetorical questions, because I already know the answer is yes, you would, because that's the reason why that's who you procreated with. It turns you on to be able to be smarter than this Negro. That's the reason why, and I'm going to say this. I know y'all not going to like this, but God damn it, I got to say it. That's the reason why. Let me tread lightly with this. Matter of fact, let me take a sip of this. Let me take a sip. Take a sip of that. Let me be careful. Let me be careful in how I word this. We're talking about the talented 10th brother, the educated lane, and she's more turned on by a brother who's a buffoon, who has less intelligence. And what lets me know that this is true, I watch a couple live streams, and I'm going to be very careful on how I address this, because I know that harassment policy is live and well, so I'm going to be careful. But I watched a couple live streams, one particular with Cynthia G. And what I've noticed about Cynthia G, I think it actually, let me be careful. I think it actually turns her on to get on these live streams and to debate with these Negroes who are clearly not on her level intellectually. And when she gets on those live streams with them Negroes and completely I'm sitting there, it's like listening to somebody scrape their fingernails across a chalkboard. She's dismantling these Negroes. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, God damn, man. If it was boxing, the ref would stop the fight. And she's sitting there boxing these Negroes, tagging them every chance she get, and these Negroes sitting there looking dumb. Well, I seen a live stream last week, and she called black men bitches. And you had 3 black men sitting on the panel. And not one of them Negroes could say nothing. And I'm like, God damn you. You know what? I might have to deal with that a whole. Let me stop because I'm gonna slip up. I know I am. So let me get off that subject because I'm gonna slip up. But that's just one example. When I see that sister go in with these brothers on these panels, and how she just, this is just manners. And this one Negro, and one particular panel in question that I'm talking about, she was talking about the very same Negro who made, I done a video on this a couple of weeks ago, where he called my commentary toxic. And I done a hole on that. Y'all know who I'm talking about. This one particular panel, she was talking to that Negro. She was talking to that Negro. And I would tell that Negro, you need to come to the rabbit hole. That's what you need to do. Because if you can't debate and defend your position any better than that with her, God damn it, you need to stay off those panels and you need to put your head in a book. Because she completely dismantles you Negroes. And that's why she likes to get on those panels with y'all. I think it turns her on. It really does. For her to sit there and berate you Negroes, and you Negroes don't say nothing. She called black men bitches, and you got 3 black men sitting on the panel, and not one of those Negroes can open their mouth and say one word. Not nothing. They sat there like 3 blind mice. See how they run. And she ain't chopped their tail off with a carving knife. We know what she chopped off with a carving knife. And that's the way them Negroes sat there, castrated. Pitiful. Let me get off that. Let me take another sip of this, y'all. Y'all got me hyped up like I'm in the hole, man. But this is historical fact, y'all. What I'm telling y'all is cannot be debunked, cannot be debated. These are facts. These are facts. This is a fact. You have, again, and I'll say it again, if you haven't done any research on Booker T. Washington, I would admonish you to do so. Do some research on that Tuskegee Institute. Do some research on the industrialized education. And you'll see that had we followed that model, the black community will be in a far better condition than it is now. But we didn't follow that model. And the failure in the DuBois' talent at 10th is that those Negroes, some of them didn't come back. They just said, listen, I can't do it. I got my job, I got mine, you get yours. And as soon as they could rub 2 nickels together, they were out. We're gone. They moved to the suburbs. Peace. There's too much dysfunction there. We gone. And the brothers who tried to come back and lead, those sisters called them lame. They're educated lames, man. We can't listen to them. We prefer to deal with a buffoon. We would prefer to deal with somebody who's clearly, a brain the size of a dehydrated BB, like them Negroes that sat on that panel. And she's just berating them right and left. Black men are bitches. Black men ain't this. Black men ain't shit. And you got black men sitting on the panel. And because they have been castrated, they can't say nothing. Shut your mouth, nigga. Shut up. If they're in a room together, she probably jump at him. They'll flinch up like she about to smack him. Shut your mouth, nigga. Don't you open your mouth and say nothing. Shut up. And that's exactly what them Negroes did. Because they would much rather deal with an ignorant, buffoonish, castrated Negro. But the educated brother and the educated skilled worker, you don't want to deal with them. And that's the reason why we see what we see today. Now, I had to give y'all some history on this. I know y'all going to disagree with it, but it can't be debunked. It just simply can't be debunked. Now, if y'all want that hole with that crystalline swirls and that other with cerebral, I hope I'm pronouncing that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I can't pronounce that word. But if y'all want that video and why Snoop apologized, y'all know what it is, second nature like breathing, send me an email, I'll send you the link. And then, like I said, next week, I'm going to dive into this Umar Johnson's conspiracy theory on why Kobe died. And it's just amazing to me that you Negroes still listen to Umar Johnson. I mean, it's just, I'm going to say this and then I'm done. I remember doing I researched the Jim Jones in an anthropology course. And at that time, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand, and by the way, the majority of his followers are Negroes, but I understand it now. But I'm going to leave that there. We're going to have to deal with that next week. You know what it is, second like breather, send me in and send you a link. Because at the end of the day,